Hi everyone, it's Benjamin Krudwig from Benjamin Krudwig Fiber Arts and Design, and this is episode 10 of the Fibercast. You can find me on all of the social media as Benjamin Krudwig for the most part, or Benjamin Krudwig Fiber Arts and Design. I am most active on Instagram and a little bit more active on Ravelry, and I also have a pretty active presence on Facebook. So please find me there. And welcome. So if you're a returning viewer, hello, it's been a few weeks, and if you are a brand new viewer, welcome. I'm so glad that you can join me here on, let's see, today is Sunday, and it is April 12th, I'm pretty sure. So it's definitely been a few weeks since I last recorded, and that would be because I moved. You can see behind me different walls, different everything. My wife and I just bought a house, our first house in Lafayette, Colorado. So we are now out of Boulder, and we are so happy to have our own house. And I have my own studio, so she has her music stuff down in our basement in her own room. And I have my studio up here on the second floor. So it's a townhome tri-level, main floor, there's an upper floor, and there's a basement. So that's what we've got going on at our new house. I'm still in the process of unpacking, and I don't even want to show you the rest of my studio because I've gotten to the point of doing all the nitty-gritty part, and it's the least fun part, but it's also probably one of the more important parts of moving, is just to make sure that every little thing goes into the right spot. On top of moving, I have been extremely busy finishing up an article for Spinoff. It'll be the fall issue of Spinoff, so I'm super, super excited. It's a huge article. It's nothing like groundbreaking, but I really am proud of the work that I did for the article, and I finished that up on Friday. So that was good, and I'm also in the midst of working on projects or finishing up projects for Interweave Yarn Fest, which takes place this coming week. So it starts Thursday, and it goes Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's a free marketplace. It's open to the public. It's up in Loveland, Colorado, so I'll be making a trip up there with a couple of my coworkers at Shack Spindle Company. So I'm going as a part of Shack Spindle Company, not as Benjamin Krudwig Fiber Arts and Design. So I am so excited because I get to go see Bijou Basin Ranch. I did the tartan scarf, which you have not seen. That's at work, so I'll show it on the next podcast. In fact, I'm going to try to podcast while I'm at Yarn Fest. So probably Friday night or Thursday night, I'll go to the hotel and do a little podcast. So that's going on. What else is going on? Oh, so I'm also working on a bunch of projects for TNNA. So that's the National Needle Arts Association conference, and it's in Columbus, Ohio. It's the end of May, and I will also be going with Shack Spindle Company for that conference. So I'm pretty excited. It's kind of a surreal experience because 6 years ago, I don't know if I would have been doing what I'm doing now. I was expecting to go into bio and like biology, become a field biologist, and that's what I got my first degree in, and I got my second degree in studio arts. Immediately after college, I thought I was going to teach either biology or art. So when I didn't find a job at that time, this is about 3 years ago now, those were my plans, and all of my plans kind of fell through. So I was able to get this job. Ariana found this job on Craigslist for a shipping assistant at Shack Spindle Company. And I was like, I know that company. I have one of their spindles, one of their drop spindles. So I got the job, and I've been working there ever since, growing with the company, which is really great. And it's amazing how life works that way. So the fact that I get to go to a major conference for yarn and fiber and spinning, weaving, knitting, crochet, needlepoint, like, it's just so exciting, and I just never would have thought that my life would take me here. So I'm very, very grateful for that. So all of that's kind of just administrative stuff. What am I drinking today? I am drinking some tea that actually is from Harney & Sons Master Tea Blenders, and this is the Royal Wedding Tea from Kate Middleton and Prince William. Yeah, pretty sure it was him. So this is the same tea that they blended for the royal wedding. My sisters, for my wedding, packaged little small packages of tea and honey sticks and chocolate into a little gift basket or gift pouch for everybody for the rehearsal dinner. So it has some significance, and there are very few tea bags of this left, but I like to save it. I don't like to drink it all at once. It's very chocolatey. It's a black tea, but I think there's actually real chocolate inside the tea. Very delicious. It can get a little bitter. Bitter. Oh my god. A little bitter. I'm sorry to all of my British podcaster friends. That wasn't even on purpose. It's been a long few weeks. So that's what I'm drinking. And I don't have a ton of stuff to show you, so it'll be a somewhat short podcast. I have a lot of things to kind of go over and ask questions. If you haven't noticed already, this is not a live podcast. I am trying out a new structure. And this one is not very structured today because I just wanted to get a podcast up, and Ariana's out walking around the lake nearby. So I thought now would be a good time when the house is a little quiet to podcast. So, yes, I'm going to try to do non-live podcasts for a little while and just see how they go. I think I get a little distracted on the live podcast because there's, the chat bar on the side, and I'm trying to keep up with that, and I'm looking at my phone, trying to answer questions that are coming in. So, here we are. New format, new house, new studio. Not really a new me. I got a haircut. Whoop-de-doo. So, anyways, let's get going with content. So, I have some spinning for you this week, and I have some knitting for you this week. I have some secret knitting for you this week. It's not really secret, but it is part of the mystery knit along that's going on still. We're getting the final clue this Wednesday, so I'm super excited for everybody to start finishing their shawls. So yeah, let's just jump right in, I think, to spinning. So I really like my new setup, actually, because there's a beautiful window that I get a lot of natural light in. So this is actually showing very true to color. So this is some yarn I am spinning, also for my article. You can tell this is just my whole flyer assembly. Oh gosh, I'm also filming this a little differently. So everything is mirror. So this is from my Shacked Reeves, which is sitting over in the corner, well, against the wall. This fiber is from the Spunky Eclectic Spunky Club from February 2015. It's Shetland sheep wool in the colorway Gerbera. So it's actually a very bright yellow. It has some beautiful burgundy in it. You can see this almost purpley pink color and some gray. So this is just, I love this fiber. It's pretty soft. I'm actually very sensitive to some wool. But this is actually pretty soft to the skin touch. So I am finishing up some samples for my article. So this is what this is for. And it's spinning up really beautifully. Yeah, I absolutely love it. So that's what's on my wheel. It's 4 ounces of the fiber, and then I'm going to apply it with something else. So it should be pretty fun. I really can't wait for everybody to see this article, because it's just, artistically speaking, one of my favorite things I've done in a long time. So that's the spinning that I'm working on. I am working on some knitting that I feel like I just lost. Here it is. So Dan and Kay Jones of the Bakery Bears podcast, they had a pretty rough year last year, where Dan was diagnosed with cancer, had all of his treatments, which, you know, was very difficult. It made his hands really swollen and sensitive, so he couldn't knit. But while his hands weren't knitting, his mind was knitting, and he came up with a pattern that Kay has helped come to fruition called the handbrake cowl and the handbrake scarf. So at first they were going to do a free pattern for this cowl, and then God, I think it might have been their most recent podcast or the podcast before last podcast. I am so behind on all of my podcasts, so I don't know who's done what recently. Where they announced that they're actually going to do a charge for the pattern, but all of the proceeds are going to cancer research. So hearing that, I wanted to jump on it. So I think it was April 4th. They released the pattern. And unfortunately, I was in the middle of a move at that time, so I couldn't immediately go buy the pattern. You should go do it if you can. Please go support them. They are one of the inspirations as to why I started podcasting. Their podcast, I talk about it a lot, where it just makes me feel very good, and it gives me a connection that I don't necessarily get in person. I find personal interactions very difficult, so that's why I do a lot of mine on the internet. Yes, so anyways, I went out and got the pattern, oh gosh, I think it might have been Monday. With all the projects that I've been going on, I've been doing a lot of weaving and a lot of spinning and a lot of writing, so I didn't do hardly any knitting this week, except on my Mystery Knit-Along shawl. So I finally cast on last night the handbrake cowl, but I haven't done anything but cast on. So I am using some hand spun. Oh yeah, that looks really good in this light. So this is also from Spunky Eclectic. This is, it's merino. This is merino wool. It's a brown base, so it's a natural brown base, and it is in the Black Pearl colorway, which was a Johnny Depp inspired colorway. In fact, my wife and I just watched Pirates of the Caribbean 2 and 3 this week, so that was pretty fun to rewatch after a long time. Anyway, so I'm going to knit on this week, and I'm excited to do the handbrake cowl. I've been eyeing it ever since they've been working on it, and now that it's out, I'm super excited to work on it. I also want to get Kay's new pattern, the Messalina shawl. So it's named after one of Nero's wives. I think it's his 5th wife. But it's based off of all their Roman adventures that they've been having. And I love the garter stitch pattern one, the male pattern, the one that's a little bit more masculine looking. So I almost cast that on with this yarn because I think it would look really great. But I think I might find a solid color yarn to really let the cabling pop. So that's upcoming from the Bakery Bears. So the other thing I am knitting on, I am behind. The person who designed the shawl and the Mystery Knit-Along is behind, I confess. So, without giving my own pattern away, this is the Mozart Shawl Mystery Knit-Along. I cannot tell you how exciting this has been for me to see everybody's shawls start to come to fruition together. There's some beautiful combinations happening, very interesting yarn choices, which, being a designer, you don't have the opportunity to knit your design in every single yarn possible. There's just too many. So seeing what other people choose and what they're using is so gratifying. So that's been a lot of fun for me to see everybody else's clue. So if you are participating in the knit-along, clue 1 and 2 have already gone out. Many people have already finished clue 2. They are extremely fast knitters, faster than I am, so, oh man, I can't believe I'm this far behind. But I can kind of believe I've been moving. So if you don't want to see any spoilers, please look away now. I'll do a countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So this is part of clue 1. I am using Anzula Luxury Fibers Haiku, which is a bamboo merino blend. Let's see here. It's 70% superwash merino and 20% bamboo, 10% nylon. I am using, for the body, which I want a sweater's quantity of this color. This is called Gravity, and it's a tonal gray. It's a semi-solid. All of their colors are a semi-solid, but this gray, it's just the beautiful light gray with some darker and lighter spots in it. I'm obsessed with this color. So I'm about, embarrassingly so, I'm about 12 rows away from being done with clue 1. And I have to do clue 2, and then clue 3 actually is published this Wednesday. So I will be doing that soon. I mean, I've knit 2 of these, so I can't say that, like, oh, I'm not participating, because I'm trying to participate, and I'm trying to comment on everybody's stuff on Ravelry. But the knitting part of it has been very difficult with work taking over my life and moving taking over my life. So it's a 2-color shawl. It's a lace shawl. It's done in 3 sections, and the first 2 sections are done in the main color, which is the gray. And then for my contrast color, I'm using this olive green called Olivia, also Haiku by Anzula Luxury Fibers. The other 2 shawls that I made, I used, one of them was all hand spun, so that was pretty fun. And it uses like a light worsted for the first 2 clues, and then an Aran weight for the 3rd clue. So it's actually a thicker weight yarn for the last clue. I found on the first shawl that I didn't need to go up a needle size for the final clue, but then the second shawl I did need to go up a needle size. So I'm going to put that in the notes once the 3rd clue publishes. So I have been loving the shawl. It's definitely one of my favorites. I might have to rename it. So it's currently called the Mozart Shawl. But seeing everybody else's shawls populating in their project pages and on the Ravelry page. So I have a group, by the way, a Ravelry group for Benjamin Krudwig Fiber Arts and Designs. And you can see there are 2 groups in there. Or 2 pages, forums in there. The Mozart Mystery Knit Along, like the chatter one, and then there's the spoilers thread. So anybody can post pictures there of where they are. And then there will be a finished object thread. And I've decided, I can't believe I didn't think about this before, there will be prizes. So, yeah, there will be prizes announced in 2 weeks. 2.5 weeks, if I'm thinking about this right. So really, it'll be anybody who finishes one of the shawls. It's an entry. And then what I'll do is I'll use a random number generator in a specific thread where it's no chatter and just finished objects. and then do a prize there. I have a couple of ideas in mind for prizes, and I'll announce those next week. So I want to do at least 2 prizes, maybe 3. Kind of depends on how many people enter a finished shawl. So that's all I've been knitting on or spinning on this week. Again, I've woven quite a bit, but none of that's here because I am working with my coworker to finish some projects up, and she has all of the fabric now. It's been insane. Good insane, but insane nonetheless. Other things I've been working on. So if you do go to Yarn Fest, if you're local to the Colorado area or want to make the trip out, or if you are going to be at TNNA, which that's just a trade show, so it's not open to the public. But it should be fun. So whoever's there, it'll be fun to see other people in the industry there. So anyways, this week I made a bunch of cards for our projects at work. So we do a lot of weaving tutorials and spinning tutorials, and I decided that I should make some project cards for people. Here, I'll show you one of my projects. So this is the front of the card. So this one is how to weave log cabin. So it's a specific style of weaving that you do in plain weave. And I put a little picture of the project. And then this QR code, if you scan it with your camera, your QR code reader, it'll take you to the blog post for the tutorial. So super exciting. I made 20 of these, so different things like how to spin fractal yarn. Pretty fun one. That's one of my favorites. I love this idea. So I'm hoping that this takes off pretty well at TNNA and Yarn Fest, because I'd love to do more. And they look great in their the little holders, the document holders. We're gonna put those in there. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on. I feel like this is a really short podcast. Oh, I'm scatterbrained too. I'm going to be a lot more structured in the next few podcasts. I'm going to actually have show notes in front of me instead of saying, oh, I'm going to do a podcast right now. So yes, I want to know your guys' opinions. What would you like to see from my podcast? I have a thread in my Ravelry group that says suggestions. I believe it's just suggestions. So I'd really love it if you guys could go there and just let me know what you think of the podcast. What would you like to see? What is your favorite part of the podcast? What isn't your favorite part of the podcast? Things that I could change. Things that you want to know about my projects, whether or not you care about. I know for a while I've been doing the needle sizes. Like I'm using this needle, this brand of needle with this kind of size. If you would like to hear more about different techniques, I am happy to do that. I haven't done one in a long time, but I've been working on tutorials, and I've actually been contacted to do another one for Curious.com, so that'll probably do some more time devoted to that. I just need to wait to propose anything until I realize that I can do it within 3 months. So, we'll see. Anyways, please go check out the Ravelry group and let me know. Until further notice, I'm going to be doing pre-recorded podcasts, and I might do some VKNs, which is a virtual knit night. So other podcasters who watch my podcast, please contact me if you'd like to be a part of the virtual knit night. And if you're a viewer and would like to be part of a virtual knit night, I'd like to do kind of a mashup. So I think you can only have up to 8 people in a Google Hangout, like on videos. So I thought I would do like maybe a group of 6, where it'd be me and 2 other podcasters and then 3 viewers. That way it's a nice collaborative thing. So I'm going to think about that a little bit more. Usually at this time of the podcast, I mention all of the podcasts I have watched. I literally, if you saw on my Instagram earlier, I have a queue of about 38 podcasts to watch. I just watched the Mandarins podcast for the first time, and I really, really enjoyed it. I love her podcast. So I did that one. I watched the Junk Yarn with Kemper, who you can find on Instagram and Ravelry as Raybot, Wraybot. And I am in the middle, before I filmed this, I'm in the middle of the Stitched in Sweden podcast. By the way, so Maria, did you live in Colorado? I don't know if you watch my podcast. And if you do, that would be awesome. Because my local yarn store is Shuttle Spindles and Skeins. And you mentioned that you built a spinning wheel, kind of like a great wheel, out of a bicycle wheel. When were you last in Boulder? Because that story sounds familiar. So yeah, I would really like to know what your connection to Colorado and Boulder is. So please, if you are watching, let me know. If not, I might just PM you anyway. So yeah, that's gonna be all. I'm sorry I'm so scattered. I'm gonna be better later. I'm just not in the right spot mentally today to finish up like a really long podcast. So 25 minutes is great. Please find me on all the social media, Instagram, etc. Oh, I just messed up my hair. Yeah, subscribe to the channel on YouTube, and that would be awesome if you would do that. So, I love getting messages on Ravelry, too. I love connecting with my viewers, so I am very open to saying hello. And yeah, please come back again. Show notes will be available in a little while on the website, so benjaminkrudwig.com. Under blog, you'll be able to find the show notes there, and you can find all the backlog episodes of the Fibercast on there under the Fibercast tab. You can also find all of my patterns there, as well as on Ravelry, and then you can also find some tutorials on the website as well. So feel free to check those out. Send me messages, send me an email, all sorts of things. So I look forward to entering this next step. I can't believe this is episode 10. Woo! My gosh. So next episode is episode 11. One of my favorite numbers. So, oh my gosh, love it. So I'm going to try to do that one next week. I will see. I'm still trying to get into a new routine, and it's very difficult. So love you all. Keep on stitching, however you do it, and I will see you next time. Bye.